Hey guys, Chelsea here today with you from Making Manzanita, and today we're going to be walking you through how to use the Kreg 320 pocket hole jig. We have two other videos on our YouTube channel that walk you through how to use the 520 and the 720 pocket hole jigs, how to set them up, how to use them, and they're really popular videos, and so we thought we would do another informational deep dive into a pocket hole jig, the third one that we own, which is the 320. So that's what we're doing today. All right, let's hop in. So you'll see here, this is our little, this is our Kreg clamp table, and you can see it's also a clamp holder, which we've built a big rack on the side to hold all our Kreg clamps. And then on this side, around, we have all of our Kreg tools down below. So we have plans for this little guy, how to build this to fit inside the clamp table, and then we also have plans on how to build that clamp rack, which also could be mounted on a wall if you don't have this set up. So I'm going to grab my 320. So I have it labeled here, but it comes in this little case and it fits right in there. Alright, so here's the 320, and when you get it, you'll also get this cool little carrying case, which keeps everything all in one place, which I love. So inside, you will find the owner's manual, which isn't in here right now, but you'll get an owner's manual when you get it. This is a little clamp pad, and I'll talk about exactly how to use that. And then this is the actual 320 jig. You'll see here there's two drill guides right there, and then there is a spacer right there in the middle. And it has an anti-slip base. It has these little stops which you set to the material thickness, and we'll go through all of this when I show you actually how to use it. But one feature that I just want to point out that is really cool about the 320 that's different than the other jigs that we've talked about in the past is that you can take the drill guides apart and you can choose to use the spacer or not. And it's like a twist apart method, which I'll show you here. Alright, so the twist apart method, you can see here, it works with these little guys on it. And it's not super hard, even if you're super weak like me. All you do is you grab what you want to pull off, you pull it down, and you'll hear that little click, and it's come out, or it's moved down into the area where you can move it now. So now you can twist and pull the pieces apart. So if I wanted to take out this spacer in the middle and make my pocket holes closer together, I can take out this spacer just by pushing it down, twisting, pulling it apart, and then I can just put everything back together. It'll click into place, and then you want to push it forward so the pocket holes are lined up. So that's kind of how the little twist apart method works. Alright, so the other things that you will get in your carrying case with the 320 besides the clamp pad and the jig are the drill bit and the driver. So this is a square head driver, and all pocket hole screws are square heads, so you'll want to use the provided drill drive bit. And then this is the easy set drill bit, and it's really cool because it's got this stop collar which you set, and it's got little markings on the edge of the drill bit which have 1.5 inches, 3/4, and 1/2 inch. And each time you set up your pocket hole jig to use, you will set this stop collar according to the material thickness. And to do that, you just use their little provided hex wrench, which you'll also get in the carrying case, and you just loosen this drill bit up. On the side, you line up exactly the material thickness that you're using, which we're going to be using 3/4, and you just tighten it up. And then this allows the drill bit to stop in the exact right spot according to your material thickness. Pretty little snazzy tool here. So let's get started. I'm just going to walk you through how to set up the jig and use it for the very first time and go through the whole process. Alright, so I've got two pieces of just some scrap wood from our garage that we're going to be playing around with today. These are oak. So let's get started. Alright, the very first step when you are going to be using the pocket hole jig, obviously get everything out, but you need to figure out your material thickness of the wood that you are drilling the pocket holes in. So I already know this is 3/4, but in case you didn't know, or in case you didn't have a tape measure handy, this hex wrench actually has little markings on it that you can use to figure out how thick your wood is. So you just hold it up here and you can see there it's in the window of the 3/4. So that's how I know what to set up. So first step, determine your material thickness. All right, next step is to set up the stop collar. And I kind of already showed you how to do this, but just to demonstrate one more time in case you skipped that part of the video, you're going to use this hex wrench that comes with the jig, and you'll look at these little markings on the side of the drill bit. You'll see there's a circle there at the very bottom, 1.5 inches. There's one at the very top for a 1/2 inch, and then mine's already set at 3/4, which is what we wanted at. But just to show you how easy it is to set this, you just loosen it by putting the little hex wrench in the side. You can slide it up and down, line it up to the correct number that you want to use, and then tighten it back up. Easy peasy. And then this stop collar is going to stop that drill bit exactly where you need it to do according to your material thickness. All right, now there's one more thing you need to do on the jig to set it up for 3/4. And this is a little different than the 520 or the 720 Pro, which you kind of don't really need to do much to the jig. But this one, there is an additional step with moving these material stops. And this is where the wood is going to set. So these move up and down according to your material thickness, which is indicated on the front of the jig. There's again those same familiar markings that you saw on the drill bit, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1.5 inches. So this is already set, but just to show you exactly how easy it is to move these, there's a little lever on the box or on the back, and you just move up and down. So if I needed to move it to 1.5 inches, you just move both of these, and you'll see there, and it kind of snaps into place, so it's, you know, it's in the right spot. So those are pretty easy. So you want to, don't forget to do that, because that's going to allow the wood to stop in the exact right spot according to the material thickness. So that's the last thing you need to do on the actual jig. All right, so now the next step is to get the jig itself clamped to the wood where you're going to be drilling the holes. I am going to be using my Kreg clamp table because I have one and because I love it. And it makes the whole process a little bit easier, but I'll also show you how to clamp it just with a regular clamp. And I just wanted to point out, this is the universal clamp pad that comes with it. And this allows you to, it just kind of pushes into place here in the jig. And it'll snap, kind of, that little gripper will grip into one of those inserts. And this allows you to put your clamp in here, and you'll put those little claws together so that your clamp is attached just like that. And it will allow you to work a little bit faster because your clamp is now attached to the jig. So when you're moving it around a lot, it's just one less step. You can just clamp it down and everything's into place. I am going to be using my clamp table, like I said. So you can either use the universal clamp with one of these Kreg clamps, or you can just use any other type of clamp that you have in your workshop. You're just going to clamp it down. You want to push it right about here in the middle of the jig. And that's where you would clamp to a workbench or to any solid surface that's going to be nice and steady for you to drill on. Again, like I said, I'm going to be using my Kreg clamp table, and I'll show you how to set that up now. All right, so now we're going to clamp it into place on my clamp table, which already has a clamp attached, which is nice. So I am just using some scrap wood, and this is about 2 inches wide. I just measured it. Looking at this, I was getting ready to clamp it down into place, and these pocket holes are just too close to the edge of my board, and it's probably gonna blow it out. So you don't want them to get this close. So what I'm gonna do, again, super easy. I already showed you this once, but I'm gonna take out this little spacer just while I'm drilling this pocket hole. Again, it'll just kind of show you how easy this is. There we go. Helps if you pull the right direction. So snap that spacer out of there, and then we'll just put these pocket holes a little closer together. No big deal. All right, so you can see here our material stops are still set at the right setting, 3/4. So you want to make sure that material stop is where this is going to rest upon the edge of the board that you're clamping. You're going to make sure this is in the center of the board as much as it can be. I'm going to use these little guides to make sure everything's straight with my board. Then I'm going to grab my clamp and just clamp it right down into place, and it's nice and secure. If you don't have a clamp table, you would just take your clamp and clamp it to your workbench, and you would, again, just put the clamp right there in the middle. All right, so now you grab your drill bit, which you've already set up, and you grab your drill, and you wanna load this into place. Get nice and tight. All right, so the one thing you don't want to do, you have a tendency to push your drill bit all the way into the hole and start drilling. You don't want to do that. You want to push it in, and then you want to pull it back a little bit and allow the drill bit to come up to full speed before you hit the wood. You're going to get a nice cleaner cut that way. Okay, so I pulled, so I pushed it, pulled it back a little bit. Turn your drill on, make sure it's going the right direction. Hold your, put your drill on, let it come to full speed, and drill the pocket hole. So you can see here, I had a little bit of a resistance, and that is because, number one, this drill bit doesn't have a shot vac attachment, so I can't pull all that sawdust out of the hole. And number two, I'm using oak, which is a hardwood, and so it may require a couple passes. Once you start to get a little resistant, you want to pull the drill bit back out and just try again, because those wood chips are kind of getting in your way, especially when you're working with a hardwood. So I'm just going to go one more time and make sure it gets all the way to my stop collar. Just like that. And then you can keep the process going and drill your other one. All right, so easy peasy, unclamp it, shake everything out. You'll get some sawdust, but our pocket holes are drilled and we're ready to secure it to our other workpiece. So we've got our piece that the pocket hole was drilled on, and then I'm just using this second piece of scrap that's roughly the same material thickness. And again, I'm using my clamp table. If you don't have a clamp table, you'll just want to get some sort of straight edge, a square, something where you can, especially when you're doing a corner like this, you can get everything lined up. But that's why I love this clamp table. So I'm going to clamp this piece into place. And then I'm going to clamp this piece into place. I want to give myself enough room to get the drill in here, so I'm going to clamp it. I'm actually going to move this clamp so that it's right over my joint. If I can get everything. Hopefully it's not in your way too much there, but this is going to help clamp both my pieces there. And then I'll also add another clamp to this piece back over here, kind of out of my way. That'll give me enough room to get my drill in here. All right, so next you will grab your driver and the driver bit. And again, you're going to be looking for the square tip, and it'll come with your jig. So you just want to pop this into place on your driver, and then we need some pocket hole screws. I don't have those out yet. One sec. All right, so we usually get these project kits from Kreg with all the pocket hole screws, and it gives you the most common screw types and sizes that you'll need. You'll see here. They also have an outdoor one with outdoor screws if you build a lot of outdoor stuff. This has a little mix of everything. You can see all the way from 1 inch up to 2.5 inches. So, and the handy part about these little kits is that it comes with this little chart inside that I absolutely love. Here, let me move the camera here. So this little chart is so handy. This is the screw length selection chart, and this used to be in the old model of the bigger jigs like the K5. It used to have this little chart, and they took it out, and I really miss it actually being attached to the jig. With this 320, of course, it wouldn't have been attached to this jig because it's so small. But regardless, it's in all of these screw things. So if you buy the kits here, you'll get this. If not, I have it in our blog post. You could print it out, put it in your workshop, laminate it. But it's super handy because you can just quickly look what your material thickness is, and it'll tell you what your screw type should be if you can't remember that off the top of your head. So we're using 3/4, so I'm going to grab 1 1/4 inches. And that's right down here. So we're we're gonna grab a couple of those. The other thing you want to pay attention to when you're choosing your screw is the thread, which you can see here, this is a fine thread compared to a coarse thread. See how much further those are spread out. For softwood and plywood, you want to use coarse thread, spread out, and for all other hardwoods, like we're using oak, you want to use fine thread. So I made sure that the thread was organized. Make sure this is organized and these stay in the right spots. But I am looking here and grab the fine thread, 1 1/4 inch size, and then the other thing is the head type, which you'll see here the two differences between these two heads. This is called the pan head, and this is called the maxi lock head. It's a little wider. So the pan head is only used on really thin material thickness is when you would use this. But for everything else, like 3/4 inch, we are going to use the regular one. You can see here I'm running low on these screws, so those are the ones we use most often. But those are the screws I'm going to use. All right, so now we are ready to drive the screw. You can add your screw to the end of your drive bit there. And you don't want to over tighten. Once you get that resistance and it's screwed in all the way, you're good to go once it's setting all the way in the hole. Oh, my clamp is in the way. Whoopsie daisy. All right, move that over just a hair. There we go. All right, easy peasy. All right, so easy as that. I unclamped it. We've got our pocket hole joint all done. This only took, obviously this took a little while because I was explaining to you, but it really only takes you 5 minutes to set everything up, test it, get your pocket holes drilled, and drive your pocket hole screws and get everything connected. So this is a great, obviously you know we love pocket holes because we use them all the time on our woodworking projects, but I really believe that they're one of the best ways for beginning woodworkers to really get into woodworking and get confident because they're so easy. And this 320 pocket hole jig is a great option. It's a low cost, it's portable, it's super lightweight. I love the little carrying case. If you don't have a lot of room in your workshop, this is a great option, and it doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that some of the more expensive Kreg jigs have, like the 720 Pro or the 520 that we've shown you before, but as you can see, it does the job and it does it well. So if you are considering getting this, I recommend it. We use it all the time. One of the other things that I really like about it is that you can use it without a clamp if you're doing like repair situations and you need to get your pocket hole jig into a tight space and you don't have room for a big clamp. It's a great option because there's a little hole right here in the middle and you can get it into the right place and you can drill a screw right through there just to hold it in place while you drill your pocket holes, and then you can unscrew it. And you can't do that with the other pocket hole jigs. So this is super versatile. We like to have it around. I would probably have this in my workshop even if we had the 720 Pro, which we use all the time, just because of how versatile and lightweight it is. And I like the whole like clicky spacer thing. All right, so if you have any other questions about how to use this jig, just let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe while you're here because our next video, which you guys aren't gonna wanna miss, is about Kreg jigs again, the pocket holes, and we're gonna be comparing all 3 of the pocket hole jigs that we own, the 720 Pro, 520 Pro, and 320, and talking through all the differences between them so you can decide which one is right for you. All right, hope you have a great rest of your day. Again, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know if you have any other questions. All right, bye guys.